Shalom Aleichem, everybody. Welcome back. It is Erev Shabbos, Parshas Mishpatim, and it is also Parshas Shekalim. This particular week, we begin reading the four parshios, the four special portions that we read this time of year, beginning this Shabbos, with the reading of Parshas Shekalim. Now, what is Parshas Shekalim? So very briefly, just a little bit of the history of Parshas Shekalim. Parshas Shekalim is a reading of the fact that each and every year, the Jewish people, every Jewish male, would have to contribute a half shekel to the ongoing offerings that were done throughout the year. There were communal offerings, and each of us had to participate, give a half shekel, so that those offerings could be paid for by the monies contributed by the entire Jewish people. And the Mishnah in the beginning of Shekalim says, B'yechad ba'adar mashmiyim al shekalim, that at the very beginning of the month of Adar, this month, we would go ahead back in temple times and announcements would go forward that this was the time to go ahead and contribute these half shekalim. So on a simple level, it sounds like a very technical thing that had to do with the ongoing service of the temple. But if we actually look at what the Midrashim say about this particular reading, it seems that there's a lot more than meets the eye. In fact, we know that this is really, in a sense, this is the beginning of the holiday season. This is the beginning of the upcoming period of Yom Tovim, of Purim, of course, and then ultimately Pesach. This leads up to Pesach. Pesach leads to Shavuos, and Shavuos ultimately leads to the Yom Noraim. So, in a sense, this is the beginning of that process. There's something very big about Parshas Shekalim in particular. What is it about Parshas Shekalim that's so big? So if you look at the Orach Chaim, at the beginning of Parshas Shekalim, at the beginning of this reading, the pasuk there says, "Kisisa es rosh b'nei Yisrael." Literally, when you lift up the heads of the Jewish people, each has to give their half shekel. When you take a census of the Jewish people, each has to give their half shekel. But why is the expression of taking a census described as sisa es rosh, to lift up the heads of the Jewish people? Says the Orach Chaim HaKadosh that the idea of lifting up the heads of the Jewish people is because you have to look at the chronology of when this was occurring. The Orach Chaim says that this command to go forth and to lift up the heads of the Jewish people, that each one gives their half shekel, was taking place right after the sin of the Egel Hazav, right after the sin of the golden calf. So there we are, the Jewish people, and in a sense, we are downtrodden, and not in a sense, in a very real way. We are downtrodden. Our heads are down. Our heads are down. We feel, in a sense, less than. We feel that we have failed, and we failed very, very miserably as a people. And there was this depression that was really rampant throughout the camp of the Jewish people. Comes along this mitzvah, and God says, "Ki sisa es rosh b'nei Yisrael." I want you to lift up the heads of the Jewish people. This mitzvah is going to lift up their countenance. It's going to give them new life. The mitzvah of the half shekel. What is it about the mitzvah of the half shekel that's able to lift us out of the mire of sin? What is it about this mitzvah of the half shekel that's really the introduction of the entire holiday season? So there's a beautiful statement from Rav Shlomo Alkabetz, where he says, why is it that the mitzvah of half shekel is a half shekel? Give a whole shekel. I mean, if you're going to give a donation to the temple, give a complete shekel. Why half a shekel? Says Rav Shlomo Alkabetz, the reason it's half a shekel is because that little coin represents you and me. In a sense, each one of us as an individual is only half a person. An individual is never really completely whole. But when we join with the rest of the Jewish people, and we join in some incredible endeavor, like bringing the karbanos, like bringing the offerings of the temple, then we become whole. It's by virtue of the fact that we join together as a people that ultimately we are once again whole. When the individual is looked at as an individual, so we're in a world where there's flaws, where there's mistakes. But when the Jewish people join together and they build something new and unique called Klal Yisrael, where the individual is no longer an individual, but they're part of something bigger. So in that world, that's a world that's above flaws. That's a world that is whole. Va'amech kulam tzadikim, says the pasuk. And your nation is wholly righteous. When is your nation wholly righteous? When they are whole, when they are complete, when they come together. We read this parsha at this time of year, and we go ahead and we take our half shekel, and we look at the Jew sitting next to us in shul, and he's also giving his half shekel. Each of us are giving their half shekels. And by giving our half shekels and recognizing, look, we're individually, we're far from perfect. But as a group, when we come together, something amazing happens. Something amazing happens that's above time. Something amazing that happens that's not simply linked to a technical thing that was given to the temple, but continues to apply even today. Even today, when we read Parshas Shekalim, this power comes back into the world, says the Medrash. This power comes back into the world and affects you and me. How so? Because we give our half shekel and we join together. We join together as a Jewish people and we make something beautiful. We're not coming as individuals, we're coming as a whole. We're coming as Klal Yisrael. And as Klal Yisrael, v'amech kulam tzadikim. V'amech kulam tzadikim. They're all righteous. They're wholly righteous. Why? Because they are kulam. Because we're coming together as one complete nation. Shabbat Shalom, good Shabbos, everybody, and I look forward to seeing you soon.